The call for assistance light flickered on and off as Renata jabbed the button above her head. She was in a huff and wanted to make this clear to everyone else on the plane as she gurned and panted. She glanced around to check, both if a steward had seen her and if any of the other passengers were as outraged as she was. In her fury, she jabbed her finger into the button so hard that it bent back on itself and she had to swap her injured digit for a fresh one. After a solid minute of signalling, a steward with weary eyes and a perky smile approached her. "Can I help you?" he said in a voice barely breaching whisper level. "I sure hope so." Renata cleared her throat in order to properly present a list of complaints. "Firstly, the baby behind me hasn't shut up for the last hour. Children shouldn't be allowed on flights if they can't sit quietly. Secondly, I don't like being on an aisle seat. People keep bumping me as they pass. And thirdly, the man next to me is on fire." The steward glanced over, and the man next to Renata had at some point spontaneously combusted. He was sat with his hands on his lap, facing the seat-mounted screen as flames billowed from every inch of his body. The steward barely concealed a sigh, then reached over to turn on the flaming man's fan. But the button had begun to melt, and upon being disturbed, glopped down into the localized inferno. "I would like to be moved to a different seat. I'll take a business class one, please." Renata went to prod the steward in the chest with her index finger to punctuate her complaint, but realized mid-gesture that she had injured her finger by aggressively pressing the call for assistance button, so instead poked the air in front of the man. "I'm sorry," the steward said, "but the flight is in fact fully booked. I can offer you a complimentary drink, though." Renata ordered a gin and tonic. When it was placed on her fold-out tray, the ice melted and the drink quickly warmed, so Renata left it. The man burned with evanescent flames throughout the journey, and Renata burned with the rage of an inconvenienced Brit. A waxy substance clung to the surfaces around the man and stained the left sleeve of Renata's blazer. The smoke that billowed from the man collected in the ceiling of the cabin, and Renata was pleased to see other passengers glancing up and audibly tutting. She spent the remainder of her flight imagining the conversation she would be having with her friends about the nightmare journey she had endured. As the passengers dismounted the plane, the man remained aflame. Renata glared at him through the sagging window as she stomped across the runway to the baggage claim. Later, her daughter would comment that she had caught the sun.